my channel. So this video is going to be about my frozen embryo transfer treatment plan and protocol. This is the second time I'm filming this video. I filmed it earlier about a week ago and I realised when I was editing it that I've left some crucial details out, so I figured as painful as it is to sit down and film it again, I'm going to have to, because I just want to make sure I'm covering everything that I'm doing differently this cycle. I also want to film this video in hopes to help someone else out there who is going down the IVF path and want ideas of other things they could be doing. I know for me it helped finding these kind of videos where it's all in the one video. I have mentioned things I'm doing sporadically throughout my vlogs and other videos, but I haven't sat down and gone over everything that I'm doing differently this cycle, so I thought I should do that. And yeah, as I said, I found those videos really helpful when I was trying to research what other things I should be looking into doing, having it all in the one video. So if you're new to my channel, I have just done my third round of IVF and we have one PGS normal embryo that we are transferring in 2 days, which is crazy and very exciting. But I have experienced recurrent miscarriage. I've had 6 miscarriages, 5 of them all being last year. My first was end of 2014, and after the D&C for my first miscarriage in 2014, I got an infection following the D&C, which I found out a year later had damaged my tubes, and that IVF would be our only option. After finding out that news that my tubes were damaged, we have conceived naturally, but they've all ended in miscarriage, and so we chose to do a third round of IVF with PGS testing. So testing the embryos, making sure they're chromosomally normal to avoid any future unnecessary miscarriages. So this frozen embryo transfer is probably the most optimistic I've felt. I've done 2 fresh transfers which both resulted in a chemical pregnancy. This is our second frozen embryo transfer. We've done 2 fresh transfers. My first frozen embryo transfer was in December, but we didn't actually get to the transfer stage because our embryo didn't survive the thawing process. So that's obviously a big fear of mine, but I am comforted knowing that this embryo that we'll be transferring in a couple of days is chromosomally normal, and the chances of our embryo not surviving the thawing process is pretty low, touching wood, because we seem to always fall on the bad side of odds, but I'm praying this time is different. So I have everything written down here on the computer just because there's so much that I need to go through and I don't want to forget anything again and have to film it a third time. So I'm going to be referring to the computer. So this cycle is a natural frozen embryo transfer cycle. So it's not medicated. We are transferring the embryo off my natural cycle. All of my hormone levels are normal, which is why we went down the natural transfer cycle road. So my last video I told you that I had ovulated on Saturday, got a positive blood test for ovulation, which means that my embryo transfer was 5 days from Saturday, which makes it this coming Thursday, the 7th of September. So I haven't been on estrogen or anything like that. So in preparation for this cycle, last cycle on day 22, cycle day 22, I had an endometrial scratch, which is where they scrape the uterine lining and it kind of prepares the uterus for implantation, and it's meant to encourage implantation. So I did that last cycle in preparation for this transfer. This cycle and treatment plan has been all about kind of getting my immune system under control. It's been kind of like a handling immune protocol. It was discovered this year that I have elevated natural killer cells. I had that test done at the same time as my scratch. So they just scrape some of the uterine lining and send it off for testing, and my natural killer cells were elevated, so they like to see them under 12%, mine are over 30%, so quite elevated. I am taking, the medication that I'm taking for that is prednisone or prednisolone. It's a steroid and it helps lower those elevated natural killer cells, and I've been taking that from cycle day 1. I was taking 10 milligrams on cycle day 1 and increased it to 20 milligrams from cycle day 2 up until now, and I will probably continue that if I become pregnant until around 12 weeks. So that's meant to hopefully decrease those natural killer cells. Natural killer cells are a good thing, obviously. They protect us against infection and cancer, but if they're elevated, your body can see the embryo as a foreign object and attack it. So that's not necessarily the sole reason for my losses. I do know for sure that one of them was due to a chromosomal abnormality, but it could be a contributing factor. So I've never taken prednisolone before in a pregnancy, so this is the first time I'm trying this, and I'm really hoping that it is what makes the world of difference. It's basically to reduce any kind of inflammatory response in your body and just calm your immune system down when it's overreactive and sensitive like mine. So the side effects I've been having from that is severe hunger, increase in appetite. I get quite bad allergies all year round, and I've noticed my allergies have pretty much disappeared, which has been amazing. And with that, I am now able to taste and smell so much more than before. So I have a heightened sense of smell and taste, which has been very enjoyable. With no allergies, so that's been a good side effect. I haven't had any negative side effects as yet, touch wood, so it's been good so far. The next thing Honey! Coops! It's my beautiful little, you can tell it's a cat. The other thing that I have tried differently this cycle, which I've never done before, is Intra Lipids. So Intra Lipids is an egg soy based product which is intravenously infused over a 2-hour period. Depending on the dose, I think it can take 1 to 2 hours. For me, it took 3 hours. So I wasn't prepared. I thought it might take maybe 2.5 hours max, but I was sitting there for 3 hours. So I got that done last Wednesday, which was just over a week before my scheduled transfer date. They say you should get it done between 7 to 10 days before transfer, and it is meant to decrease again those elevated natural killer cells. Soy obviously isn't good or recommended for fertility, but this is a different part of the soy, and because it's going through your bloodstream rather than through your digestive tract, it's perfectly safe to take. So as I said, I haven't done this before, but figured it was worth a shot. It's not a proven science. There's still a lot of doctors who aren't convinced about it. My specialist being one of them, she's willing to offer it to her patients who would like to give it a go, and who have had recurrent pregnancy loss like me, but it's one of those things still up for debate. IVIG is another option instead of Intra Lipids, but it's not a viable option for a lot of people. My specialist doesn't do them. Plus they're ridiculously more expensive than Intra Lipids. Here in Australia, I believe one IVIG infusion costs $3,500 and an Intra Lipid infusion is $500, so dramatically cheaper the Intra Lipids are. An IVF sister of mine who has a lot of experience in immune protocols told me that the dose of Intra Lipids that my fertility specialist gives is a lot higher than I think what is normally given in the US and the UK. So I was given 200 mils, and I believe the most common dose in the US and the UK is about 100 mils, so half that. So one transfusion prior to transfer was enough. I had no side effects. I just sat there for 3 hours in the chair while this milky looking product went through the tube and into my vein, and yeah, no side effects. I was really lucky. I'm not sure how common side effects are, but I'm just, again, hoping they will help. So Clexane I haven't taken before either. It was also discovered this year that I have an MTHFR gene mutation, which just means that my body is unable to absorb folic acid, which is a synthetic form of folate. A lot of prenatal vitamins have folic acid in it, and I've been taking one of those most common prenatal vitamins that has folic acid for a couple of years, and I haven't been getting any folate. When you've got an MTHFR gene mutation, your body can't convert that folic acid into folate. The MTHFR gene mutation that I have is the homozygous A1298C, I believe it is. So it's not the gene mutation that is more specifically linked to recurrent miscarriage. So I don't know, honestly don't believe that this mutation has had much to do with my miscarriages. But the clexane, also known as Love Knox, is used as a blood thinner to prevent any blood clots and just ensure the blood flows to the uterus as it should. As I said, it hasn't necessarily been a factor in my miscarriages, but it's a good precaution to take, and there's no harm in taking it. So I will start those injections the day prior to embryo transfer, which is tomorrow, Wednesday. Apparently you bruise very badly taking them, so I'm preparing myself for that. Progesterone is something I have done in the past already. I don't have irregular hormones. My cycles are very on schedule. I don't believe I need the extra progesterone, but with any IVF treatment, I believe progesterone's a standard thing to prescribe. They're just the progesterone suppositories. I'm not doing the progesterone in oil shots. I admire any woman who has to do that because they look extremely painful. So I'm not a massive fan of these suppositories, but I'm not complaining because they're not the shots. They're a lot kinder than the shots. So I'll be starting that tonight. Actually, I'm starting those suppositories. Actually waiting for a phone call from the nurse to let me know. One of my nurses, there's multiple nurses, it's very confusing. One of them told me to take one a day, but on the box where they put your sticker and tell you the instructions on how often to take it, it says 3 times a day. So I'm not sure what I'm meant to be doing, so I'm just waiting for the nurse to call me back to clarify that one. The Hcg Uterine Injection. This is something I haven't done before either, and it's something I actually did this morning, and it wasn't painful at all. So it's an alternative to the Hcg Uterine Wash. Some of you might have heard of it. The uterine wash is usually a fluid that they flush your uterus with on the day of your embryo transfer. So Hcg is the pregnancy hormone. It's what your body produces when you become pregnant. In a natural cycle, when your body detects that there's an embryo in the fallopian tube descending down towards the uterus, your uterus produces Hcg to kind of encourage the embryo to implant. When you're doing a frozen embryo transfer, there is no embryo present in the fallopian tube. So getting that Hcg injection or wash kind of mimics what would happen naturally. So the injection is done 2 days prior to transfer, which is when, if it was a natural cycle, is when your embryo would be in the fallopian tube. So it's kind of mimicking what would happen naturally. My fertility specialist didn't offer the Hcg wash. She was under the impression that it might be detrimental for the embryo because it's done on the same day, or it's done prior to the embryo transfer on the same day. So that wasn't even an option to do the wash. But it was something I'd heard of. The injection I hadn't heard of. A lovely IVF sister told me about it and shared an article with me, and I found it really interesting and called my specialist and asked if she did that, and she did. So I was grateful for that. You really have to be your own advocate though, seriously, because it's amazing how much they don't suggest, but they actually do. And there are some studies out there to prove that having this injection 2 days prior to transfer can dramatically increase your chances of success. So I'll try and leave a link to a study below so you can have a read because it's quite interesting. That's everything in terms of meds. Other things that I'm doing, I'm obviously taking a prenatal vitamin. I'm not taking one that has folic acid in it. I've found a natural prenatal vitamin that has the natural form of folic acid, which is folate, and a lot of other more natural ingredients. So I've been taking that for a few months now. Any doctor will tell you that folic acid is a very important part of a healthy pregnancy, and people who have an MTHFR gene mutation and are taking the common prenatal vitamins aren't getting that folic acid or folate. So I'm glad I discovered that. I'm taking them daily. I'm also taking vitamin D in a liquid form. I've heard that taking vitamin D in a liquid form is more readily absorbed into the body than the tablets. A lot of people have a vitamin D deficiency, so if you're not sure if you do, I would recommend going to your doctor and getting tested for it. I'm taking fish oil and a daily probiotic. On the holistic end of things, I have been back and forth about whether or not I should be doing acupuncture for weeks. I posted about this on Instagram yesterday, kind of sharing my thoughts and concerns. I have tried acupuncture in the past in a previous cycle. It didn't work for me and I didn't find it relaxing. That's not to say it doesn't do amazing things, because I know it absolutely can, and it's wonderful for a lot of people, but when I did it, I didn't enjoy it at all, and I've been in two minds. I've been changing my mind every 2 seconds whether or not I should be doing it. As you've heard, I've been throwing everything I can at this cycle, at trying to make it a success, and part of me feels like I may as well just give acupuncture a go, even though I didn't really enjoy it, to just suck it up and, you know, have an open mind. Maybe it'll be different at a different place. So I actually have booked it. I've penciled it in tentatively for Thursday. I don't know my transfer time yet, but I booked that in a couple of days ago, and last night after I posted about my thoughts on Instagram, so many of you kind of encouraged me to not worry about it if it's going to cause me extra stress, which is where I've been at in my mind. Why would I want to do this if it's going to cause me extra stress and worry about getting stuck in traffic and getting from place to place? The other reason why I am unsure whether or not I should do it is, as I said before, we've conceived multiple times naturally without acupuncture, so I don't believe it'll make or break this cycle working. So yeah, basically after posting last night and sharing my thoughts with everyone and having so many people encourage me to just do something that I find relaxing, I've decided not to do it. I did mention it to my fertility specialist today when I saw her for the Hcg injection, which wasn't painful, by the way. I don't even know if I mentioned that. She said if it was her, she would book in a facial. Something that she would enjoy more than acupuncture would be getting a facial, and she said, why don't you just get a facial? I've never got a facial before, so I don't even know if I'm sure it would be relaxing. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to I think meditation is going to be good, some light yoga, just doing things that I enjoy, just relaxing, not worrying about getting from place to place. Acupuncture isn't for everyone, and that's okay, even though, you know, it can be very beneficial, and I understand why people do it. I'm going to be on modified bed rest, so I'm not going to be in bed for days. I feel like movement is still important to keep the blood flowing to the uterus. I won't be doing any heavy lifting or exercise or, you know, strenuous exercise, or anything outrageous, but just I think modified bed rest for the first couple of days. I won't do much. I think I'll just chill, but after that I'll just continue doing, you know, things as normal, but mindful that I'm not doing too much. Jim's taking transfer day and the Friday off, so we're going to spend some quality time, just the three of us and Cooper, 4 of us. My cat is Cooper. So that'll be nice. We'll just watch some funny movies and do some enjoyable things together, have some laughs, take our mind off our worries. Food, I've been trying to eat as nutritionally rich foods as possible. A lot of green vegetables. I've been trying to eat anti-inflammatory foods like capsicum, blueberries, strawberries, ginger, garlic, turmeric. My turmeric tea and the powder that I bought as well in that haul, delicious, really nice. I would recommend. So yeah, I've just been trying to be mindful about what I'm eating. I've been cutting back on gluten and dairy. I've been drinking a lot of coconut milk and consuming coconut yogurt instead of dairy. Caffeine I'm not drinking. Closer to transfer, I'm going to be eating lots of warm foods, which is meant to help with implantation. Pineapple core. I'm sure many of you have heard of the whole pineapple core thing, whether it's a old wives' tale, I'm not sure. I think there is some science behind it though. Pineapple is the only fruit that contains bromelain, which is a combination of enzymes meant to help your body absorb proteins and help with implantation. So the idea is you cut the pineapple core, just the middle section, into 5 even or equal pieces, and then eat a piece each day from embryo transfer day. So it'll take you 5 days after embryo transfer, and it's meant to help with implantation. So it's not a proven science, but there's a little bit of, hey, it's worth a shot. Brazil nuts are also meant to help with implantation, I have heard. So a couple of days prior to transfer, I'll start eating a few of those a day. I have to have some today, I haven't had any today. Until about a week after transfer. And just staying well hydrated is important, obviously. So yeah, that is my protocol and plan. I don't think I've left anything out. I really hope you found this video helpful. I know I have found similar videos helpful. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. I never ever say that in any of my videos. I just feel like I'm a terrible self-promoter. I don't know, I feel like it's never really been about the likes and the views and the subscribers for me. It's never been about the numbers. It's just been about connecting with the community and sharing my story and supporting others going through similar things. So saying give it a thumbs up doesn't really come naturally to me. I haven't said it in any of my videos, but this is a video that I think could be helpful for some people who are just at a kind of wit's end, not sure what to do or want to look into other things that they could be asking their doctors about. And so the more thumbs up, the more people will potentially see the video and gain some knowledge into things they might want to look into themselves. So that's why I'm saying it. We're all in this together, and I feel like this community is incredible. We all have each other's backs, and we all support and suggest things to one another that perhaps doctors don't. And you know, as I said, every doctor is different. There are many doctors who believe in certain things and others who don't. My previous doctor, for example, I asked well over a year ago to test me for my natural killer cell levels and my MTHFR gene mutation, and he refused both. He didn't think they were necessary, and it turns out when I went to my new fertility specialist, I had both those issues. So, I mean, listening to your gut instinct is so important, and just being your own advocate 100% all the way. I think that's everything. Thanks so much for watching. I am excited to share this new, hopefully happy chapter with you guys. As I said, I don't have a time for transfer yet, but I will get that phone call tomorrow probably, and we'll find out when we're going to be transferring this very already loved, hopefully rainbow baby. Good luck for wherever you are at in your journey. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. If you want to share your story with me, I always love hearing from you. I've got my email address below as well, if you want to message me privately. Take care of yourselves, love and baby dust, and I'll speak to you very soon. Bye guys.
I've told my mother, I've told my friend, but I can't bring myself to tell you what I think. We built a past on stolen ground, but now I cannot see